Hello, chaps. How the devil? Sorry, I am a bit late. The gout's obviously slowing me down. The salmon and trout's playing havoc with my mobility. I literally jumped out of the shower about 60 seconds ago and threw some clothes on. It's great being a man, isn't it? You don't have to. You can just wash with a piece of carbolic soap and use separate ends of a vest, one for a flannel and one for a towel. Sorted. You can get ready in like 90 seconds. It was the same when I was in the car. If we had to turn to at 8 o'clock in Fizzrig, you could get up 10 minutes before you had to be on duty. Susan's on vacation. Sadwing's got a notification. That is a rarity. That is as rare as rocking horse shit, isn't it? She's not a fan. I've actually heard some stories this week saying that they reckon she might be getting binned. I think there's a lot of people who don't like her very much, isn't there? Well, anybody who's got an IQ above about 90 probably doesn't like her because, it's not like constantly stifling conversation on a social media platform is a good idea, is it? That's ridiculous. That's like the CEO of Burger King deciding to wipe dog shit on all the bread buns. It's just self-evidently a bad idea for the industry that you work in. Here we are. Let's look at the chat then. See, I'm not going to really. Normally, I prepare 3 or 4 stories, don't I? And we just talk through them. But we'll. I guess we'll just take some questions from the floor tonight because I'm trying to do that on a Friday just to keep things a bit more fluid. We'll get some news from around the bazaars from the chat. Rebel Frog guy says, "Wow, you learn something new every day. Nicola Sturgeon is not trans as I thought she was." Yeah, the poison dwarf's always seemed very mannish to me. I always thought she'd have 4 or 5 inches in her knickers. Apparently not. So there you go. If you want to come to this channel and get wisdom from people like me and Rebel Frog guy, you're in the right place. I'm going to write a book, The Bootneck's Quips. I am shocking at this. I am a good writer. Those of you that found me via Quora can attest to the fact that I can write, but I'm shocking for sitting down and doing it. I'm the world's worst procrastinator. It's the same with art as well. And YouTube, right? I intended to start doing YouTube many years before I started doing it. I'm just shocking for... I think apparently that's bog standard ENTP personality types like me. You're good at coming up with loads of ideas, but you're shit at following them through. And strangely, for my personality type, that's why the military suited me so well, because I'm the type of person who needs structure. My missus works really well doing freelance work. She's had various jobs in all the years we've been together, but she does well with freelance work because she's got the discipline to just sit there and churn it out. With me, I need a large, muscular man in a vest to kick my door down at 5 o'clock in the morning and say, "We're going for a 10-miler." And I go, "Nice one. All right, then." I just do it. I'm also superb at following orders, right? Like, I'm never late for work, ever. But I need to be told, be at this place at this time, attired in this manner, and get ready to do this for 12 hours. And I'll be there and I'll do it. But I am definitely not a work for yourself type of bloke. Entrepreneurship is not something I naturally excel at. So I have started writing a book, which I intended to be a sort of military memoir where the person writing it actually went to war. There's loads of them. There's loads of them writing books nowadays. Like, I was in the RAF regiment and I sat in various chairs all around the world. I travelled to war zones all around the world and sat in varying chairs. I actually did some stuff, and I've got a sense of humour and I can write. So I've been attempting to write a sort of comical memoir of 5 tours of duty. And I've only got about 40 pages done in 12 months. I'm shocking at it. So I am attempting to write something. When I've got an actual chapter that I'm happy with nailed down, I'll share it on my website. And you guys can curate it for me and read it. And if you think it's worth listening. It's worth reading. I'll carry on. If you read it and go, that's absolute dog shit, I'll stop writing and just continue to talk shit instead. But yes, I do know my chairs. Karen Hetherington, you seem new. I don't recognise the name. I'm still small enough where I recognise the new people. Hello to Karen. How are you doing? And as Chair says, I do know my chairs. Alec Levia's autobiography, it was Spike Milligan's. I bet Spike Milligan's are absolutely fantastic. Well, see, that's the niche market I'm aiming for, right? Because I'm thinking there's tons of memoirs that are like roily, tinfoily. Look at the size of my coconut bollocks. I'm Tommy Tenmen. I'm thinking there's very few that are humorous, like almost comedy memoir of a deployment to Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think there's a lot of comedy there because when we weren't fighting people, we were having a crack. So 90% of a deployment is bants, really. I was laughing the whole time I was out in Afghanistan and Iraq. Occasionally bad stuff happens, and when you've got casualties, you deal with them in the sort of grim-faced, stoic manner that you would expect. But most of it is whatever happens when you get massive blokes or groups of blokes together. For example, I've been told, being a borough lad, loads of lads I know work offshore, you know what I mean? It's a steel town. And loads of them have sent me links to varying books written by offshore or rig workers. It's actually like an industry of its own now. There's a few dozen blokes out there who've written books about the hijinks they get up to when they're based on these offshore platforms. And being a bootneck, I mean, the reason that type of stuff's going to be funny is because basically if you get any situation where you've just got hundreds of men trapped together in sort of grim circumstances, that sort of gallows humour that humans naturally lean towards, well, not humans, working class people, not fucking middle class Guardian reading arseholes. When working class lads get together in a big gang and there's no women about, you just become a bit savage, don't you? And your humour is all sort of grim, dark, foul-mouthed banter, basically. Essentially picking on each other, playing pranks on each other, and just acting like fucking children, which is what happens when men get out of earshot of women. We aren't a very mature gender, are we? So I can imagine that those type of books are exactly the same. And that's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of humour to be derived from the military memoir, I think. Because when you're not out on patrol shooting at people, which is 95% of the time, 95% of the time, you're sitting on your fucking ass on a base somewhere looking for ways to amuse yourselves. Bravo 20 was a work of fiction. It was, and it wasn't it? It's one of those shovel of salt books where it's not, it's in the non-fiction section, but yeah, you take it with a shovel of salt. And yeah, that's that. Anyway, enough about my fucking shenanigans with the lads. Let's hey, that's what he said, Elton John. Enough about my shenanigans with the lads. Someone find me an interesting news story. What have we got from the week that was, other than the obvious overblown festivities yesterday commemorating a riot? Like, you know what they're going to do with that? What they did yesterday? They're going to turn January 6th into a yearly event like 9/11. Like, seriously, it made me fucking sick reading the news yesterday. It was just endless stories. Kamala, Bungalow Biden, just flaunting it on television, on the radio networks, on the Silicon Valley platforms, in the printed media, on CNN, on MSNBC, just endless. Commemorate January 6th. They want to turn a minor riot in which the only person that was shot in the face was an unarmed, skinny woman. They want to turn a minor riot into 9/11. Evening, Paz. How are you? Always glad to see Paz is still on the platform, because you never know when the guillotine's going to come down on a man like Paz. Yeah, likening it to Pearl Harbor. That's not hyperbole. Yesterday, they're trying to turn January 6th into 9/11. They're going to want to have a yearly commemoration of the day that Ashley Babbitt got shot in the face. An unarmed woman got shot in the face off a big black man. And apparently, he's the victim. That's sort of mad, isn't it, if you think about it? Can you imagine if the roles are reversed? Can you imagine if a little short-ass black woman got shot in the head off a big white copper? I don't think we'd be asking for a commemoration of the poor downtrodden policeman. What's he going to do? Got a blister on his trigger finger? It's mad. We're living in mad times. But like I said, it's good in a way, right? Because what's the saying? May you live in interesting times. It'd be pretty boring if everything was going well. What would we talk about? If we were just living in a dull, reasonable, centrist democracy and everybody was sane, what would we do? What would we talk about? I look back at the 80s and I think, you know what? It was much better, but it was boring as fuck. I have nothing to whinge about. Nothing to whinge about. So Kamala got shot in the face by a big black man too. No, Kamala got a pearl necklace off a big black man, but not the one you can take to the pawn shop. Well, maybe a pawn shop if it's spelled with an O, but not the type of pearl necklace you can take to a pawn shop. Did you see Biden talking about chickens in the White House through all the press out? I didn't see that, no. Did you see Biden talking about chickens? I'll have to, shall I Google that one? Biden, chickens. Let's see what comes up. Vox, you know what? Let me just share this link. If you Google Biden chickens, there's 3 videos, and then the top story is Biden's latest executive action is a win for chickens. I know Vox will never type anything negative about Joe Biden, but a win for chickens. Like, this is, again, the lunacy of these lefty activists, right? Who the fuck reading Vox is a chicken? What you should do if you want to have a successful media platform. Let me give you some advice from a middling media platform. Well, is it even middling? I haven't even got 10,000 subscribers yet. Bargain basement media platform. Just some advice. When your target audience is not poultry, don't spend all of your time writing stories about how the administration's policies are a big win for chickens. Just some advice there. So Biden's reversing Trump's efforts to speed up line speeds at chicken packing plants. Yeah, nice one. I'm fucking loving that. Like everything's going so well. Let's slow shit down. You know what I mean? We haven't got any supply issues, so let's slow everything down. We haven't got any traffic issues, so let's slow everything down. We haven't got any supply issues with gas and trucks and movement of infrastructure in general. So I know what we'll do. Let's pass loads of green energy shit and fuck up the infrastructure completely and bring it all to a grinding halt winner. If you're worried more about what the people wanted to do and less about what the poultry was getting up to, maybe we wouldn't be in this fucking mess, eh? Anyway, so there's nothing there about Biden's chickens. There's one on the Blaze. What's that? Biden's brain breaks when he goes off script to talk about chickens and inflation. Shall we have a listen?
That I was sitting in my kitchen yesterday, and there's a sunroom off the kitchen, and my wife was there with her sister and a good friend named Marianne, and she was saying, "Do you realize it's over $5 for a pound of hamburger meat? $5? Well, this is partly, the pound of beef today costs $5 compared to less than $4 before the pandemic." And here's some historical context. 50 years ago, ranchers got over 60 cents for every dollar a family spent on beef. Today, they get about 39 cents. 50 years ago, hog farmers got 40 to 50 cents for each dollar they spent. Today, it's about 19 cents. And the big companies are making massive profits.
Sorry, can you just confirm you've got the audio? Oh yeah, you have. Matthew, listen to his voice. Why does he proper tells stories like a pissed old bloke, doesn't he? Like, why did he tell you the names of the people around the table? He's like, and I was sitting there in the kitchen, and we had my wife's friend and Mary Ann and Billy Bob and Sue Ellen, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you silly old cunt? It's supposed to be like a political speech, not anecdotes with crazy grandpa. What's he reeling off the names for? Sarah Bob, and Mary Jane, and Sue Ellen. She had these pigtails in, and I was like, gee whiz, now wait just a cotton picking minute. It's like, just shut the fuck up and talk about politics. I talk about politics more than him. And my channel's like 80% swearing and anecdotes, and I somehow managed to talk about serious policy issues more frequently than that silly old bastard. And again, I'm not getting paid for it. He's got paid, and it says in his job description, run shit. And somehow I manage it more often than he does. Yeah, corn pop. What the fuck? Anyway, see the rest of this rambling nonsense.
Well, their profits go up. The prices you see at the grocery stores go up commensurate. The prices farmers receive for the products they are bringing to market go down. Thank you. Thank you. You know, everybody, I come from the state of Delaware. Everybody thinks the big industry is chemicals. It's chickens. Chickens, broiler chickens, billion-dollar industries, and needs help. So anyway, sorry, I don't want to get too personal here.
So we're going to move to the next set, but we're going to pause for a moment and for the press to exit.
Okay.
Like, sir, can we talk to you about non-poultry related incidents, please? Yeah, we've got a Muller who's talking about nuclear Armageddon. We've got a resurgent China. We've got a fucking pandemic that's just a total shambles from start to finish. We've got deeply illiberal authoritarian maneuvering and machinations by both public and private companies. Can we talk about something other than fucking Sue Ellen and Billy Bob and chickens, please?
This reflects the market being distorted by lack of competition. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Capitalism without competition.
I've said it before and I'll say it again.
It isn't capitalism, it's exploitation. That's what we're seeing in meat and poultry, and those industries now. Small independent farmers and ranchers are being driven out of business, sometimes businesses that have been around for generations. It strikes at their dignity, their respect, and the family legacies so many of them carried for generations after generation. So I'm here as Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack, former governor of the state of Iowa, and Attorney General Garland, to talk about how we can create fair markets and more opportunities for family farmers and ranchers and bring down the price at grocery stores. There are 4 pieces of our action plan. First, we're going to invest $1 billion in new and expanded meat and poultry processing capacity, funding that was included in the American Rescue Plan to revive our economy, to bring in more competition and dignity and more farmers, ranchers, and customers. We're going to invest in new and innovative small businesses and meat processors, the lifeblood of our economy. And when we do this, we'll give farmers and ranchers more options beyond giant processing conglomerates, shore up the weak points in our food supply chain. Secretary Vilsack will share some about this very shortly.
If you enjoyed this,
Wasn't very funny after the first minute. Secretary Ballsack. Who's Secretary Ballsack? I haven't heard much about him. On the face of it, I don't disagree with a lot of that there. Although I will say that we've done such a bad job with the economic side of things here in the States that it doesn't even please me when he says things I agree with that involve government money. Because when he's like, we're gonna just send them $1 billion of state aid, it's gonna be like, yeah, so we're just fucking money printer go burr. You know, I've got investments. I don't want it to just keep printing fucking money. They're in dollars. So anything to do with spending now, just they're printing another trillion off. Like, it's absolutely shocking. I don't know when the inevitable financial collapse is going to turn to show up on our doorsteps, but it's going to seriously fuck us. Because, again, it's mad to me how someone with only, what would you call it? Not average, because the average person's a fucking idiot, but a journeyman's knowledge of economics, right? I've never been to university and studied economics. Probably why I can understand it, because apparently AOC I think a major was in like somewhere else, but I believe she has a minor in economics. So it's like, that's what happens when you go and learn about economics in university nowadays. You just turn into a fucking idiot. So maybe the reason I'm understanding it is because I haven't been to fucking college and studied it. Oh, there's a question I can get behind. Where's that gone? Fucking disappeared. Oh, that was weird. There we go. Is the White Rose still on Martin Road? I don't think the White Rose is still on Martin Road. I believe it turned into an Indian restaurant. But I used to go to the White Rose when I was a teenager. It was good in there. Had good fruities. This is in about 1997. So, no, the White Rose isn't still on Martin Road, Speedy Steve. It's now an Indian restaurant. And that was about 6 years ago. It might be a fucking block of flats now. Everything is, isn't it? Have you noticed in England now, all there is blocks of flats. Everyone in England used to live in a nice house. But we've just copied the American model and everyone lives in a fucking flat now. So we've just got blocks of flats everywhere and phone shops, because we've now got, you know, a million fucking third world men moving in every year, and they love phone shops. All you see now building anywhere is blocks of flats and fucking phone shops. It's mad everywhere I go. Where's the boozer in the background? That is a pub called the Glassblower, and I literally typed in on Google 4K pub London and looked for some nice imagery, because I wanted that superimposed on the background about a year ago when I drew the picture of the copper with the fucking bloke who burned the cenotaph, getting him in a headlock. And that was what I superimposed it on. So I don't even know where it is. The Glassblower, somewhere in London. Oh yeah, Turkish barbers as well. There's loads of barbers, phone shops, and fucking blocks of flats that look awful. And in London, big glass dildos that fucking nobody wants to look at. No, Marcus, I haven't seen Lotus Eaters yet. I'll listen to that when I'm done here. Where was it with this rambling old twat? Anyway, you guys are making me as bad as him with all the additional chat. Where was I? Oh yeah. So on the face of it, that sounds all right. Giving more money to small business. But if we hadn't have done the last 18 months lockdown and COVID response, the small businesses wouldn't have all got fucked. This is nonsense. $1 billion is a drop in the ocean. You're not going to save small business now. I was talking about this at work yesterday. All the small businesses have collapsed. My company's pretty big and they have a lot of money. But all of the small businesses have collapsed because they closed them all, forced them to close, and they let the big boys stay open because they're getting bribed. So obviously, Tesco's was open throughout the whole fucking pandemic. And what do Tesco's sell? Every bastard thing. Told you my brother works for Sports Direct. Mike Ashley, that beloved saint. And he was kicking off about it, saying they force us to close, but Tesco's sells fucking everything now. They force all the little hardware stores, sports shops, all the mom and pop places, the bakeries, the fucking, all that closes. And funny old thing, Tesco's now selling everything. So you just have to go there. It's a monopoly because they're all in on it. Tesco and Walmart, fucking laughing kit bags. You go there when you need anything now because everywhere else is closed. So you go to fucking Walmart and they've got bakery, dairy, produce, groceries, meat, clothing, footwear, fucking gardening implements, homeware, DIY, pharmacy goods, fucking athlete's foot powder, toothpaste, every single thing you need sold at the big boys. And they have rolled up and fucked small business for 2 years. And now these lunatics are like, oh yeah, look, here's $1 billion. Yeah, cheers. Cheers? They've already closed, mate. What do you mean? $1 billion What, you're going to send some fucking farmer $4,000 worth of chickens and you think that's good news? Total bollocks. Actually, that does remind me of a good story I can segue into, because if I just type in fraud, has anyone read the story? Yeah. Oh, there we go. I think my internet froze for a bit there. Susan's fucking with me. Susan! Right, here we go. I'm back on. So, the whole reason people argue about the necessity for a small government is because whenever the state tries to do anything, they get outmaneuvered by individuals or small groups, right? So obviously, this is what people have told the communists when they say things like, we're just going to steal everyone's property off them. You know, when no, I haven't got dial-up internet. I've got like 100 megabytes per second, and it's cabled in because I knew I was streaming. Fuck no, I'm telling you, it's Susan. She wants me. So like, it doesn't make any sense whenever the government think they can outmaneuver individuals or criminal gangs or anything, because by definition, the state lumbers along. It is criminally slow. Apparently, billions has been stolen from us. So not only have we been spending money we don't have, literally billions of these bounce back loans, we've just been given to criminal gangs. Look at that photo there. Sorry, foreign criminal gangs, just even better. So, I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if at least they were all British gangsters and they were spending our taxpayers' money on like British pints of lager and British cocaine and British prostitutes. But no, it's all going abroad. So we're literally spending money we don't have to send billions of pounds to fucking Albanian gangsters. Winner. What do you think they spend it on? Making young women's fucking lives miserable for what? 70 million quid. This is two blokes. Two scruffy criminals, one Lithuanian and one Russian. Two blokes, 70 million quid. So you do the maths. 10 billion might be conservative. Maybe we've pissed 100 billion up the wall. Because the state's fucking useless. Bounce back loan fraud. At present, police have recovered £78,000. Get in. Well done, lads. Well done. 70 million quid of your money, and they've managed to get 17 grand back. Fucking nice one. Details of the case can be reported after court restrictions were lifted. So you're not even hearing about 99.9% of them. Yeah, winner. There you go. Look, he's loving life. Ukrainian bloke. Sorry, Lithuanian. Is he Lithuanian? Yeah, good lads, Lithuanians. Arnis Zalkans was from Lithuania. Remember that bloke who killed his wife, chopped her up, and got out of prison after 15 years and then moved to England so he could fuck an English teenager to death? Yeah, he was from Lithuania. So I'll tell you what, them lads are just the fucking gift that keeps on giving, aren't they? I sure am glad we collapsed the borders so we could fucking import Lithuanians with no background checks. It's working out swimmingly. If they're not shagging and eating kids, they're fucking taking the piss out of the taxpayers. I tell you, you couldn't make it up, could you? So yeah, we're winning, aren't we? We just keep winning. I'm tired of fucking winning. 70 million quid, two blokes. And that's the ones you know about. So when the economy collapses and you all end up living off fucking ready brek for the next 8 years, remember how we got here. It's the woke Conservative Party and the even more fiscally irresponsible SNP, Labour, and Lib Dems. I mean, shit, that should be their tagline for the next election. Slightly less woke than everybody else. It's good. What about that on a banner? Vote Tory and you can live off Ready Brek for 12 months. Because if it was the SNP or the Lib Dems or Labour, it'd be fucking, what's worse than Ready Brek? Bog standard gruel. It's like I keep saying, choosing between the parties in the UK is like choosing between a boot in the bollocks and a punch in the face. There is nothing good. And that's why it's going to get worse before it gets better, because I'm not voting Conservative ever again. And that's what I keep saying. I think the UK is going to need 4 or 5 years of the commies being in charge, because only after that happens will the rest of the crusty old fuddy-duddy Conservatives realise that the party's doomed and they'll actually vote for the alternative. But I think next general election, that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to get about 25% of the Conservative voters will abandon them and go for Reclaim or Reform or the SDP or whatever. And the rest of them are going to stick with Tory. So next general election, fucked. Labour are going to get in with about 30% of the vote. You know, I was listening to Peter Hitchens talking about Trump. I'm starting to think that Trump shouldn't run. Mark Stein as well. You know, I always rip off Mark Stein because I think he's brilliant. He always talks a lot of sense. Mark Stein's been saying for a long time that Trump shouldn't run because Trump's got too much baggage. He isn't polished. It's just his policies the Conservatives like. I like it. Everyone likes his America First policy. British people like his America First policy because we're old enough to fucking understand that the job of any world leader should be to look after their own people. Macron should have a France First policy. If Macron is doing sneaky, devious French shit because he's typical froggy, he's a slimy bastard, right? If Macron is doing what comes natural to him and being a slimy, cheating, foul-smelling, adulterous, lecherous, sexual, deviant French twat, if Macron is doing what comes natural to him, but he's putting France first, I am pro-Macron. You know me, I'm a reasonable centrist chap. I can always see logic, even if it's against my wishes, because I'm British and American and I want Britain and America to do well. If Macron is always putting France first, I am pro-Macron. The French Prime Minister should always put the French first. The German Prime Minister should always put the Germans first. And guess fucking what? Woke Boris Jellyfish Johnson and bungalow dogshit Biden should always put America and Britain first. I cannot believe in this day and age that it's controversial to say such blatantly obvious truths. It's not your fucking job to look out for every arsehole in the world. Boris Johnson shouldn't be sitting there in 10 Downing Street going, right, now if I pass this piece of legislation about getting the border under control, it'll be really, really good for all the people in Britain, but it'll be terrible for random Nigerians to turn up in the back of a fucking tomato wagon. I couldn't give a monkey's fart about Nigerians in the back of a tomato wagon. It's not your job to worry about Nigerians in the back of a tomato wagon. Jellyfish Johnson, you albino fucking mess. It's the job of the Nigerian president to look after the Nigerians. Everyone should put their own people first. Basically, everybody on the fucking earth that wants to have a country that is functioning correctly should be, the leader of every country should be a nationalist. Boris Johnson should put Britain first. Macron should put France first. And Matwano Ungwangbo, or whatever the leader of fucking Ivory Coast or something is, should be putting the Ivory Coast first. This isn't controversial. It's only controversial if you're a lunatic guardianista and you're like, no borders, man. Yeah, we're all one human race, bro. Yeah, maybe if we live in fucking Star Trek land and everything can just get teleported into existence by a fucking replicator, maybe then. But until that day comes, I mean, I'm happy to be a socialist, communist, I'll pin my mast to the socialist flag the day Star Trek style replicators become a thing. Then I will agree entirely with their mantra. Everyone should be housed, everybody should be clothed. But until that day comes, a man needs to be able to hold with his own two hands everything that he creates with them. Because anything else leads to tyranny. And these thick twats like AOC who say everybody should have a house. Who's building them? I'll tell you who's building them. Build a fucking house. That's what happens in a communist super state. Because shit runs out. Houses get built by people. And if bricklayers and joiners and electricians and plumbers, and painters, normal fucking blokes like me who've actually worked on a building site know how much work is involved in putting up a fucking house. AOC, being a fucking middle-class, soft-skinned arsewipe, seems to think it's I don't know, you just press a button and you've got a house. No, thick twat. It's a lot of work. And if you go around saying, seriously, I was listening to talk radio the other day and they were like, oh, what we should do is we should just take anyone who's got a second house. It's what some fucking communist, just what Jeremy Corbyn advocated. I'm not making it up. Fucking Google that. Jeremy Corbyn advocated stealing second homes from anyone that has one and putting migrants in them. Jeremy fucking Corbyn did it. In fact, I'm going to look it up because it's fucking true and I'm not having any of you commies in the chat disagreeing with me. Corbyn advocates, let me have a look. See, second homes. It's got to come up because I fucking remember it. In London. There we go. Bosh. Telegraph. This is why I can't be lied to by commies, because when you're a boring bastard and you wake up every day and read the fucking newspapers, you remember it. They try and lie to you because they think they can rewrite the history books. And as we talked about in the middle of the week, they'll try and lie to me and say, oh, yeah, well, London was 60% BME in fucking 1940. And I'll say, well, no, because I've seen me fucking granddad's school photos, you lying rat bastard. All you have to do is have the memory retention slightly above that of a ham sandwich. And you know everything the commies tell you is fucking lies. Jeremy Corbyn. One of the more remarkable features of the general election campaign was Jeremy Corbyn saying that he thought we should just pinch fucking houses. Anyone who had a second one, just nick them. Just take them. He said, I'm quoting him now, it can't be acceptable that in London we have luxury buildings and luxury flats left empty as land banking for the future while the homeless and the poor look for somewhere to live. Oh, yeah, that's fucking David Lammy and Harry Harman tweeting in his support. Look, there's David Lammy, fucking champagne suckers, lots of homes left vacant in Kensington and Chelsea by overseas investors. I would like to see them requisitioned by the government to rehouse victims. Let's put that out in bold because that's fucking brilliant. David fucking Lamtron. Lamtron, you are losing the battle of your life. Fucking Lamtron. What a thick cunt. Honestly, I wouldn't trust David. I wouldn't let David Lammy walk my fucking dog. That's how much of a plank David Lammy is. Lamtron. I wouldn't trust fucking Lamtron to run me a bath. I wouldn't let him watch my fucking hamster. Which, ironically, is what he's typically... When David Lammy tweets, it's like if you put a hamster in a fucking shoebox and just upended it on top of your keyboard. That's Lamtron when he tweets. It'd make more sense. A rat trapped in a shoebox on top of a keyboard, skittering around the keys, would tweet more fucking sense than this shit for brains, Lamtron-faced cunt. Right? So, that is a good example. Segued into that story because this is what I'm talking about, right? If you're a shit for brains communist or a left-wing activist, and you think the slow-moving, lumbering state can defeat rich business magnates, you've got a head full of cow shit. You would lose a battle of wits to a chicken McNugget, right? If you attempt to fucking seize private property within a week, everybody who owns anything will fucking vanish. And they have the means and the manpower to achieve it faster than any idiotic leftist activist can fucking possibly imagine. That's what started the exodus in Venezuela. Again, we know this because we fucking read. Venezuelan President Maduro and his fucking lackeys stole private property. I believe they pinched a Kellogg's factory and it was a GM factory. They just basically said, this is all ours, fuck you. This is for the people. For the people. Yeah? What happened? Every single fucking private property in the country got everything they could as fast as they could out of the fucking country. And it spiraled, circled the drain, and it's done. Venezuela is fucking done. It's one of the most oil-rich nations on earth, and they might as well be in the fucking Gaza Strip. They have got fuck all. It's one of the most oil-rich nations in the world, but because communists started stealing people's shit, everybody fucked off. Everybody. So now you might as well be living on the fucking moon. Although there's actually minerals on the moon, isn't there? You might as well just live on a gigantic breeze block. Because you can't get the oil out the fucking ground, thick twat communists, without specialist people, skilled people, petroleum engineers, infrastructure. That's how you get oil out the floor, you stupid commie bastard. And AOC, everyone should have a house. Let's just pinch houses off rich people. Yay! Every single fucking person that's got any money or means will do one. Capital flight. The second you try it, you thick, sheep-toothed, chompy fucking world's allocation of ivory in your fucking gaping maw, boss-eyed communist cunt. They're just gone. And houses need to be built by plumbers, bricklayers, plasterers, painters, electricians, fucking you name it. So if you think you can just give everybody a house without going, build a house, motherfucker, you are living in a fantasy land. And I get annoyed that someone like me of merely average intelligence and average life experience and average reading comprehension, I get annoyed that I have to come on here and fucking shout about it because nobody in the Houses of Parliament or on Capitol Hill in the United States has got the IQ of a fucking pull-along duck, and they can't tell the general public, listen, you thick cunts, I could explain the economics behind this dog shit tweet in 3 minutes. The honest to God, no wonder I'm fucking angry, because it shouldn't be left to me. I should be just left alone, having a pint in the fucking beer garden, letting better men run the world. But instead, we've got that saggy albino fucking invertebrate, jellyfish cunt with a physique like a bin liner full of coleslaw, fucking everything up. And over here, we've got a geriatric simpleton who pisses himself in meetings and talks about roaches and pubes at fucking speeches and rambles about chickens. It fucking does my head in. What am I doing this for? You thick cunt, you do it. You're supposed to be in charge. Christ, you don't need to be a fucking rocket scientist, do you? My God. So that's why I'm angry. I resent having to do this, having to tell people logical things. And you know what's annoying? I'm sure anyone by now that's got the fucking nuanced common sense thinking to have subscribed to my channel already knows all of this shit. It's lunacy. But why doesn't Boris Johnson just go on telly? Because he knows, just go on telly, schedule a press meeting, just go on telly and go, if you think we can seize people's houses off them, you are as thick as lumpy porridge. You are as thick as the Chinese telephone book. You don't know anything. And just spell it out in 2 minutes how it works. You can't steal people's houses. You can't just print more money, inflation. You can't just fucking let everybody move in Because there's 8 fucking billion people on planet Earth and 90% of them live in shitholes. You can't just collapse the border. You can't just build houses. You can't just house everyone. You'll motivate. If we just take everyone's houses off them and fucking invite them all over, what's that going to do? Everyone from Botswana to fucking Zambia is going to be going, right, I'm off. Actually, I started with B there. Afghanistan to Zambia is going to go, fucking hell, 3 houses in England, get in. Have we got space? And another thing is, ask them the number. I want to know the number. When is enough enough? Let's say, I'll go as far to the left as I possibly can. Let's say I'm meeting them, not just halfway, I'm going as far left as I possibly can and remain sane. And I'll say, right, capitalism's failing, right, okay. I'm going to try and fucking meet you halfway. I'll give you a blank check. How many immigrants do you think we can handle? If we really tried and we lowered everybody's wages and we really, really tried and we build loads more houses, we get everyone on minimum wage. We'll do it because we're hard workers. We'll get everyone on minimum wage and we'll massively ramp up our production and manufacturing and we'll build loads of houses. We'll get rid of the green belts. We'll build loads. How many should we bring over? We have got space. How many? And they say 5 million. Right? So they say, right, in the next 18 months, we'll have 5 million immigrants come over. Right? We can just about handle it. What about the next 5 million? Can we do 10 million? All right, let's have 10 million over. Can we do 20? 20? Be a push, we can handle it. 20. All right, we'll have 20 million. 30? What about 60? What about 100? Think we can do 500 million? The fucking third world's not going to run out of people. In shitholes, they breed like wet gremlins. They're not having kids in fucking Denmark, but they're having bastard loads of them in fucking Ghana. They're not going to run out of people. It's fucking... Look at a map. Look at a map. Someone's doing building work downstairs, it sounds like. Hopefully you can't hear that. Look at a map. We've got a finite piece of land and we have got... it's not infinite because there's only 8 billion people and it's going up very fast, but it's not infinite. But it might as well be infinite because the third world multiply at an exponential rate. So it might as well be infinite. So we can have 100 million, 200 million, 500 million. Where's the number going to end? Oh, yeah, you can hear it. I'll fuck off then. Yeah, I think they're doing building downstairs. All right. Ladies and gents, I'm fucking raged. The world's going mad. Everyone's a fucking plank. Our leaders are as thick as a Dockers sandwich. But I hope that tied you over until Monday. Have a splendid weekend. I'm sure you can wind me up and set me off on Monday. All right? Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Like it and share it. Sign up on Twitch if you haven't. Remember, I'm trying to plug that because I need fucking 50 blokes so I can save all my shit. I will put it in the chat now once again if anyone's got an account. I know it's a young person's platform, but, you know, what are you going to do? There must be some young people in here, right? 1 or 2? No, we're all baldy, middle-aged arseholes in here, aren't we? Right, there it is. There's the link. Click on that if you can be fucked. If you can't, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares? We're all going to be living off Ready Breck soon anyway. Right, that'll tide you over till Monday. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents. I'll see you all very soon. Have a great weekend. Toodle pip. Get pissed. Enjoy yourselves. See you later.